Afternoon, welcome to the Spartans Boxing Show. I'm Lakey. I'm joined by my trusty co-host, Mr. Arv. Me too. Hello, Arv.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Steve.
We're also joined by Mr. Steve. Hello, Steve, from the Eagles online football show. Boo, Crystal Palace.
How are we all doing?
Well, I was all right until I saw your face, Crystal Palace support. I can't be asked for that shit. And we're proudly sponsored by Round One Boxing in Brighton, which is www.roundoneboxing.co.uk. And if you go to purchase something from Round One, go to the checkout, enter the code Spartans10, and you'll get your discount code, which is always a bonus. And we're very, very, very pleased to be joined by Mr. James Hare, all the way from Denmark, former WBF World Welterweight Champion. And welcome to the show, James. And how are you?
Yeah, very well this evening, thank you, and pleased to be here. And yeah. In fact, just could do with a bit more lighting, but that's my end. That's my production.
I'll keep asking to be photoshopped, get rid of this lockdown chin. You know what I mean? But,
yeah.
But I don't seem to be getting a lot of luck with that. But what I am going to do, as I was just saying off there, I'm going to turn my camera off because one, I'm ugly, and two, it's using up a load of data on my Chromebook. So I'm going to leave you with Steve and Arv, and I'll jump in. But I'm going to switch my camera off, guys, and we'll crack on.
James, I'm just going to hit you with. I mean, obviously, you might have been asked this many a time, but I'm interested to understand what first made you decide to get into boxing.
You know what? Just something I've done from such a young age. I started boxing when I was like 10, 11 years old as an amateur, and I had a couple of in my sort of like late teenage years, had a couple of like little moments, one moment where I thought, oh, you know what, might be calling it a day. But then, yeah, obviously carried on, and then it becomes part of your life. And then I turned pro at 19, and that was that. It just been a part of my life from being a young age. To be fair, probably like lots of people, in many different sports, and that's about it. My brother boxed. I have an older brother, and he boxed in an amateur club and in the military. But I'm not from a family of boxers. My father never boxed, and I've not got a history of uncles or granddads or one thing or another. So, and that was that really. Yeah. Battling Jules Amateur Boxing Club and the Ingalls, and then setting up our own carry on in Huddersfield, and that was it. That was my little chapter.
When did you first realise that you had the talent to go forward and make this a career for yourself?
Well, to be honest, from a young age, like I say, our old amateur coach Keith Tate, he passed away about 2-3 years ago now. He was a talented boxer in his own right back in the 60s, 70s, and yeah. So like I said before, at 10, 11, you get carded up, and I was boxing from 11 onwards, and I don't know. He obviously he picked up in something, and I got to a schoolboy final in my second year as an amateur at the assembly rooms. I was a beaten finalist by a kid called Tommy Lee, who I believe is the oldest one of the Lee brothers. There was Tommy, Ned, and then Andy, I believe. And then obviously Andy did what he did, and then I don't know, from that point really, as young as 12, 13, it's always been around, thinking, maybe I might do this for a living. And then obviously you get a little bit older, and you go through school, and you do this and you do that. And yeah, when I eventually won my first national title, which was I think it was a boys' clubs, but it was about 15 or 16. Then it sort of like cemented itself a little bit that actually I'm gonna do this. You didn't think about injuries or things like that, or you just, obviously you're young, and you're aspiring to turn professional, I guess. Which Well, yeah. That's all I can say, to be honest.
So James, you started your amateur career very, very young. How many amateur fights did you have as a schoolboy?
It just, you know what? I've not got my medical card, but I had 100 or 101 or two. I had just about 100 bouts. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. That's a lot of fights. Wow, it's a lot of fights. So as an amateur, right? Did you have a lot of senior bouts? Did you have how many? Did you have more senior bouts? Did you have more?
No, I was my most of my success I've obviously was at a junior level. I mean, I turned pro young as at 19, and not a very mature 19-year-old, to be honest. I lost my last amateur contest over in a Gemini show, which is quite a successful club in Liverpool, in Speak. And they've had lots of guys. I mean, on the squads with the Carl who beat me that day, and I just thought, you know what? I mean, it was a stoppage loss, and I thought, what am I wasting my time for boxing amateur? You know. And I went down there because I've been training in Scotland. I've been training in Manchester with a friend of mine, Pete Judson, and then obviously, and I've been training in Huddersfield. I'd sort of I'd left the amateur club at the time, and my last amateur boxing match was at a club called Sedberg in Bradford. And it was a stoppage loss to a kid called Carl Wall, who had boxed in the amateurs previous season. I think beating him easily on points. But anyway, I got a stoppage loss. It shouldn't have been a loss. It was a home show, and I thought, why am I wasting my time doing this? And I turned pro. Carl won the ABAs that year, which was good for him, obviously. And you know, back then, if you had a ABA title, it gave you a little bit more pull when you did turn into the pro ranks. But that didn't go for me. And that's what happened. That's what happened with me. But most of my boxing matches, obviously as a junior, I won the boys clubs as a Class C, which is class as a senior title, but not the ABA senior title. You know, that's the main one. And I think it still owns a bit of. Well, yeah,
it's quite an interesting aspect to consider. That, you know, normally, what's the catalyst for turning pro? It's like, I've gone as far as I can in the amateurs, or I've won as many things as I can. And it's quite interesting to see that a loss made you decide that I'm done with this. I need to get going. You know, then fair play to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking back, I mean, I was a bit naive, to be honest. I mean, it's not like I had. I mean, listen, I have had a supportive family around me all the time, but supportive in the way that they've helped, and obviously, they're there for you. The family people, you know, look, you know, they help you along the way, but they've not got the experience to be able to. You know, maybe. I mean, listen. Not for any moment am I wanting. I'm not making any complaints here. By the way, it's just me with an older head looking back. Maybe, you know, hold on a minute. You know, this. You know, you maybe just need to just settle down a bit now. Maybe let's just try and regroup. Let's just maybe try and box, because when I did turn professional. I was around good and positive people, and I was in a really good place at the Ingle gym. But as a 19-year-old back then, me personally, I don't think I actually think a couple more years in the seniors, or maybe one season at least, would have been beneficial for me. You know, like I say, Carl went on to win ABAs that year. You know, other boxers that I'd been training with and beating and boxing around on the England squads, they were winning ABA titles, and then I jumped into it with both feet, and I was done with the amateur game. You know what I mean? I just wanted to see what I could do with the pros, but I was a very, very immature physically. You know, I mean, I was around guys. I mean, Ryan Rhodes. I mean, I remember Ryan. Me and Ryan are the same age. You know, but he had hairs on his chest, and he was going and sparring Gary Jacobs, and Gary Jacobs couldn't do nothing with him. You know what I mean? It was like he could take care of business, could write. You know what I mean? As a young kid, you know.
I mean, James, you say you turned professional. Maybe you should have done another season. I don't know why you would say that.
Well, mate, listen, I
was around when you was around, if you remember, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would say that. I really don't know. Who managed you?
Listen,
who managed you? I don't know who managed you.
What in the beginning?
In the beginning, who managed you?
Right at the beginning,
I always saw you around, but I don't know who managed you. But we was always around together. Funny enough, a regular basis.
Yeah. The first term professional, and Brendan was, Brendan. I signed a 3-year deal. Like that's what he had to do when he went to Ingalls. You know what I mean? He didn't do no 12 months contracts there. So I did a 3-year deal, and then like after 12 months, I signed another one. So I spent about 4 years down there. So, and then after that, I was.
How did you get involved with them?
Well, again,
how did you get involved with the Ingalls then?
From being from Yorkshire. So again, I've been around from being 11 years old. You box in the championships, and you do the regionals, and then you do the Yorkshire Championships, and then obviously, then after that, what used to happen is you went and boxed the Northwest guys. Oh no, you went up to the Northeastern counties, and you boxed the Geordies and up there, and then after that, you went over and you boxed the Manchester guys, the Western County guys, the Scousers, and one thing and another. Now, what happens is the different people and different boxers and different weight classes. You build bonds, and you get to know faces and stuff. I'll understand, you know what I mean. And I was a mover. You know, Ryan was a mover, Naz was a mover. All the Ingle guys, you know, they were back foot boxers, most of them. And that's probably ultimately that's probably how I made. You know, I mean, I were down at Crystal Palace on a couple of scholarships with Ryan, and. Yeah, I guess that's how I ended up. You know, that's how I ended up down there at Winkerbank.
So James, has your style always been? You had a flashy, switching style. Was your style always like that?
It was. It wasn't.
Weren't the Ingles that made you that way? Because you boxed like 100% Ingle fighter with the way you switch.
Yeah, I was a mover. I was a mover before, but prior to that, and some bits. Eric Guy has sent me some bits and bats, and there's footage to prove it. You know.
I mean, you know, James, you was only a small guy, and it don't matter how big a guy was. You know, your reflexes was fantastic. You could switch and turn, and I'd always think to myself, "Wow!" When I used to see you, I used to look at you and think, "How can a small guy like that be so, you know, reflexes be so fantastic, and how does he move and not get it?" And he's such a small guy. Is what I used to think when I used to see you fight.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, because you was a welterweight, weren't you? I mean, you know, as we were saying, I mean, British Commonwealth, was it Europe? Yeah, it was European Commonwealth.
European Commonwealth.
And Commonwealth. I mean, and welterweights now, if you look at that modern, I hate to use the term modern welterweights because of or current welterweight. You know, some of these guys are quite big, aren't they? You know, a lot of them
big guys.
Middleweights.
Yeah, you know, big guys.
Trained down to welterweight, and for you, I mean, it must have been hard going, you know.
100%.
I mean, listen, I mean, my time, my little bit of time when I was at the top, I mean, you got blooming, you got Ike Carter, and then you got that blooming Nicaraguan. What do you call that? Blooming that balmy cigar smoker.
Oh yeah, cool. So you fought
what's his name again? That's right.
Oh, Mayorga. Ricardo.
That's right.
Well, he was world champ when I won the periphery world. I mean, listen, the guys. I mean, look, I was in the IBO rate, in the independent ratings, I was like 9 or 10. I was like, you know, and I was happy with that. You look at, because I'm thinking, I mean, who knows what would have happened? I mean, I was on a crest. I was on a bit of a crest, and then, like I say, I did burn out for sure. I mean, after that boxing match on the Brody undercard against Matulski, I shouldn't have taken. Like I say, I boxed 6 weeks later in Huddersfield against a Mexican kid, Rivera, who's still boxing, by the way. He's still
Cosmo
yeah,
Rivera. Yeah, he's still going.
Yeah, and
he must be about 50.
He's the same age as, he's not Steve. Which one? Yeah, he's 40. He's 44.
Oh, that's blimey. It makes me feel really old now. But yeah.
He's 44. He's 44. He'll be 40. Yeah. Because I remember thinking when I boxed him, how can this guy's younger than me? He looked weathered then.
Yeah. He fought, actually, I'm just having a look, James. He last fought a match on 30th of January.
Oh yeah, and then his son, he's got a son who's 3 or 4-0 now, who's 19, Cosme Jr. Apparently looks just spitting image, because a guy on Twitter got in touch and he did like a bit of an article, and then they asked me to talk about it a bit, you know what I mean? Because it's like it's nearly 20 years ago.
You know, James, what you got to remember, your style of fighting, hit and not get it, reflexes, isn't a style what lasts forever, because we get older and our reflexes slow down. So what you do when you're done is, at the time, was fantastic, and you had a great career until you slow down a bit. You really got to remember that, and you forget. And it's only a short career, isn't it, boxing?
Yeah. Well, of course. And then, I mean, look. I mean, listen. I'm not kidding anybody. You know, and I know that, but I'm still sparring. You know what I mean? I'm sparring. I'm going to spar tomorrow. Yeah. I'm not under any. What I'm saying is, physically, back. I called it a day when I was 30-year-old. Now, physically, I was okay. I've just had enough up here. I'd had enough of boxing. I'd had everything that came with it, and as much as I love it, and I still do, you know what I mean? It keeps me sort of like, it's keeping me out of bother now. But it grinds you down, man. It grinds you down. It's fucking that. As soon as my friends, it's
you can swear, mate. You're right on here.
It's everything about it. And then you know, the camps that you have, the people that you're around. You know what I mean? It's just like, if I'd have had my time again, would have changed. But there's not much I'd change. I mean, blooming heck. But I was physically capable of doing something else. You know what I mean? I just needed a freshen up and a change of environment, maybe. You know, but I also knew at 30-year-old, well, where am I going to go with this? When's it going to end? You know, and I thought, what am I going to do after boxing? You know, so and to be fair, I still blooming. I'm in Denmark now, and I'm looking after my family, but I'm well, yeah, Lassie's taking care of business. You know what I mean?
How old are you now, James?
My kids or me?
You.
Me, I'm 45 in July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still a young man.
Yeah.
I'm healthy enough. I'm as fit. I'm 12.5 stone. I'm in as good a shape as ever I've been since boxing. I've got few. I'm fitting into my old clothes.
I wish I could say the same after lockdown.
And me.
But in all seriousness, though, James, I mean, go like you say, you know, you retired as a very young man, 30, and now now you're in your 40s. Looking back, you know, do you regret? God, I'll tell you my words tonight. Do you regret retiring at 30? Do you think that was the right decision?
Right. All I can go on with that, Lakey, is my last contest that I had. It were at York Hall, Bethnal Green, Robert Lloyd Taylor.
Yeah.
I got buzzed at, I think, in first or second round, and like, I will know. You know what I mean? You take shots and you ride shots, but then when you take a shot and it goes down to your feet. And for me, fortunately, I've been fortunate enough that that's not happened a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I've been buzzed. I mean, I've been boxing 20 odd years. You know what I mean? But I just thought, I thought, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I thought, what am I? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. We're looking into crowd, thinking, what am I doing? And then, like I say, it would like a no disrespect, but I'm thinking to myself, like a poxy 6 rounder, which had been cut from 8 rounds, and then I'm chasing the fight down, you know, and I get beat on points, and a fair result. And I'm always being honest with myself. A fair result would have been a draw, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get beat on points. You know what I mean? If it had been an 8 rounder, then I'd have stopped that kid. 100%. Now, where that had landed, would I have called it a day? Probably not. There'd have been something else happen. I was in the top 10, but I wasn't in a happy place mentally or where I was. You know what I mean? And you thinking,
James,
you know,
he was an up and comer when you fought him. He was sharp as hell, and you know, you was already when you fought him. You had quite a lot of fights. That guy was like just started. I mean, he won the Pride fight. Did you know that him?
Like middle. I'd seen it.
He was just a stand-in. He weren't there to fight. He was just there as someone pulled out.
I'm really pleased for the guy. Yeah,
he went in because I actually fought him as well, and I thought, God, this guy's sharp. But actually, I wasn't up to you guys' level. But I remember thinking how sharp he was at the time when he was up and coming.
I'd sort of like when I boxed him, and it was with Adam Booth. Now, prior to that, I believe, I might be wrong here, but I believe it was with the late Jim Evans. I might be wrong but it was definitely it was either with Jim Evans or someone else. But then they were like, because he didn't, I don't know, he was either lacking something in training or something. They basically said, oh no, he got beat off of one of Eugene Maloney's kids, Chaz Simmons, Chaz the Bob.
That's right, Chaz Simmons. Yes. That's right.
And Robert Lloyd Taylor was more talented than him, but obviously Chaz Simmons beat him, and whoever it was that was training him at the time basically got him out of juice because he wasn't doing what he should have been doing. I might not be 100% on this story, but it's along those lines. And then obviously it was with Adam. Adam's got him something like, but had I boxed him over 8 rounds, it would have, because it was absolutely out on his feet in 6th. You know what I mean? Out on his feet. You know, I mean, he buzzed me early, and he might, but anyway, I was really pleased for him that he won that prize fight because it's a decent payday. And
yeah, me as well. Yeah, he was a quiet guy. He was a very nice guy, I think. So I felt the same as yourself.
Yeah.
James, I was just going to ask you, quite early on in your career, just taking you back a little bit, you bizarrely earned the nickname the Roberttown Rocket. I'm quite interested to understand how you got that.
You know what? I have absolutely no idea. I mean, about 2-3 years ago, a friend of mine got me on Twitter, got me a Twitter account, or helped me do a Twitter account, and we've used that handle, we've used that Roberttown Rocket thing, but how that came about, I have absolutely no idea. And also, there's prior to that, I've been called the Lord of the Manor. Now, the ring announcer John McDonald and Sky are guilty for that because they came and did a little bit of like they do. They come and spend a day at your where you live and stuff. And obviously, my mum and dad, my dad's a bricklayer, my mum's a swimming teacher. You know, used to work in a carpet mill. They're very hard working, and they basically they've renovated what they call it, a blooming bit of a thing. So Sky came, and then I boxed in Barnsley the following week, and announced me, Lord at Manor, and I just went with it. So the Roberttown Rocket, I've absolutely no idea where it come from. You know, there's no rock and roll. There's no rock and roll story there. What's available?
Oh, that's so cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you're in Denmark now, you know, which is fabulous
Yeah.
with your family, which is absolutely superb. And you were saying to us, you know, you've been doing that little bit of training now down at the gym. You've been volunteering
Yeah.
and helping out, and you're training alongside David Hare, former opponent. Is it Lalenga?
Lalenga mock.
You know, so how's that going down there? I mean, is that well, I think the point I'm trying to make is you're getting a lot of ex-fighters now coming, you know, considering, you know, returning to the ring. We're trying to convince Dave to join the Legends League, you know, but you know, bit of a DC Comics type thing going on there. But are you thinking you'd like to try again, or is it more now just for fitness and
listen? I've been, like I say, I got over here, and I've been a bit. Well, yeah, I've been. See, we've had all this Corona rubbish as well to deal with. So at the minute, the boxing gym's closed. Not to like say mock myself and stuff, because he's technically still professional, so it's classed as work. So I'm heading down there tomorrow, but the amateur stuff is all. There's nothing going on. There's a couple of guys who have started meeting up outside now in groups of like more than 5 that can do it, but I've not had any involvement in that. Now, when the club opens up again, which hopefully in very, very near future, we've been led to believe that by the time the 50s have been jabbed up, then things will start to open. Now, whether that remains to be true, time will tell. But in terms of myself, I don't know. I mean, last year, I mean, there's an old guy over here who's still kicking about, Ivor de Lima, and he's 80 this time, and maybe there was talking about maybe doing some kind of exhibition stuff last year. This is back end of last year talking. People haven't got carried away with anything. Now, if I'm involved in that, then possibly, you know. But I don't know. In terms of doing anything like realistic, nah, because for one, our last one, I bet she won anyway. But I can do it, man. I'm bumming. I'm not in bad shape.
He's whispering. Have you noticed? He's whispering. I want his wife to it.
Yeah, I can still. And like I say, I'm sparring a light heavyweight, keeping out of bother. I mean, getting tagged once in a while, but I'm not. He's a lot bigger than me. But anyway,
James, what made you what made you move to Denmark? You know, just quite interested to understand that.
Yeah, my wife works for Hare Foods, and the UK head office is in Sturton in Leeds, which she's been there for I think about 10-12 years. And last year, there's to be honest, but we've had kids. We've got a 9-year-old and a 6. So in between that time, but then anyway, last year an opportunity came up, and we've gone for it. So she's taken a role at the head office, which is the global head office is in a place called EBU in Denmark, which is a few kilometers from here. So that's how we're here.
Do you prefer it there to the UK?
Oh, listen. I mean, look, I can't answer that, to be honest. I mean, it's a very, very different to what is. Imagine. I mean, we came out here. I'll try and put it into perspective. We came to look at round properties and stuff in February last year. So I came out on a Monday. And we looked around all these houses, blah, 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 we did one, and then we were back on the Thursday and Friday. And when we got back off the plane in Manchester, it was like, you just don't realise how many people and the difference in size, and it's just so busy. The UK is so busy compared to where I am right now.
So, James, is your intentions to stay where you are now?
We're just on it. We're on a Danish adventure. We're just gonna. The kids are in school, and they got back to school. They've been in school a month, 6 weeks now, and they're settled in with, and they're doing okay. Albeit it's different to the UK. It's so much more laid back, but it's like I'm like.
So are you happy? Are you happy set up the way you are now, and everything's all right?
Well, I've got an open mind now. We're doing something different, so I feel okay. And our lass is okay, and that's good enough for me.
It's the most important thing. Family first, and all
that. Yes, definitely. How long you been out there now?
We got here in June last year. We should have been out here end of March. So but then obviously the lockdown prevented all that. So
can you speak Danish yet, James?
Nej. Unskål med danske kære, which is sorry my Danish isn't good. Yeah.
Most that's your answer for everything.
Basically, yeah.
What about the kids? I'm sure they must be learning. They're like little sponges.
They're reading it. They can read it better than they can speak it. But the youngest is. But you see, they're at an international school, and there's kids who have got Danish parents and Polish parents and different, and the common language is English. So they're doing Danish. But then they're out in the playground and they're mixing together. The common language is English, which is what I noticed when I was here. I came here when I was about 17. Total coincidence as a sparring partner for a kid called Rashid Lawal, who's sad. Well, yeah, he's not with us anymore. I think he got stabbed uptown years ago.
Oh dear!
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I came up as a sparring partner, and then I've reconnected with a boxer, Alan Vester, who was boxing around my time as well, and he lives in our house, and we're back in touch. And
I remember the name actually.
Yeah. Junior and John Thaxton came over here sparring. He boxed Ab Judah for the world title.
That's it. I knew the name sounded familiar.
Yeah.
So you've reconnected, and what? So you guys, is he at the gym as well, or is he just?
No. He's actually working. He's not. He does some. Unfortunately for him, I think he had a back injury, so he's not been as active as what I have been. He physically can't do the same, but he can. I know he does some classes and some bits, but at a different place. Just like at a fitness place. So. But he works in like I don't want to say foster care, but he must be something to do with the social system over here, because he sometimes he's got people staying with him, like troubled kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what he does now.
That's a pretty amazing job to have, though, isn't it? If he obviously.
Oh yeah. Well, to be fair, I can only imagine. To be honest, can only imagine.
So what do you think? There's one more I remember from we spoke before, and my brain's kicking in a little bit. Your WBF belt. Now, am I right if my memory serves me correct, because I'm getting old? But you don't have that anymore. Did someone take that?
No. But I like I said, I had a short reign. I had a short reign of the WBF. Like I say, well, yeah.
Still sad about that.
Yeah. I'd have been a good kid on the Brody undercard again. Brody won the IBO. I think he boxed an Argentinian called Juan Cabrera, and I boxed then. Richard Williams boxed a certain Sergio Martinez that night, and obviously on the wrong end of a decision. And I boxed then, and then I boxed in June and defended it, and I boxed in October and defended it, and then I boxed again in December. Now, my third defense of that belt, the week before I actually got my own belt, and then obviously I got turned over, didn't I? So my own belt, which were a decent. Yeah,
it was a nice belt.
They are nice belts, yeah.
But it went back to Mexico. Now, not anybody myself included, on my behalf, you know what I mean? Well, yeah, I mean, I won't going to start going into changing rooms next door after I've just had my ass served to me. What I want looking, no, can I have my belt back? You know what I mean?
James,
you know what? Yeah.
Wasn't it that, you know what, it wasn't for your job to go and do it, it's for whether the board or who's in charge, for everyone to say, give you that board, give you that belt, and there'll be a belt on its way for him. That's how it goes, and that's how it always goes. So very strange situation.
Listen, if it had been with the matchroom set up now, it might have been different. But back then, I mean, listen, I had a fantastic time with matchroom. You know what I mean? But fact is, when I went now boxing for Tommy Gilmore and Chris and one thing of it, but we were boxing. It were ringside promotions, which I believe were like they were all to do with it were a business set up by Prince Promotions, and there were a guy called John Shepherd, but Matchroom basically were taking care and looking after those shows. You know what I mean? They were running those shows. But the Sports Network had most of the TV dates with Sky back then.
Yeah.
And Sports Network, which was Frank Warren, wasn't it?
Frank Warren group. Yeah, they had more of the dates with Sky and one thing and another. And obviously it's different now. Like I say, Matchroom, they're pretty much they've pretty much got they're in control at Sky, aren't they? And obviously Frank's got his own stuff on BT and one thing or other, and then we've got all the internet carry on, and it's all the whole marketplace has changed, hasn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. James, when you had that fight against Rivera and you cornered through the towel in, I mean, did you feel frustrated at that point, or did you feel like you could go on, or did you feel that they made a mistake?
No. Listen, I had no arguments whatsoever about that. I mean, I were getting not at any point, like I mentioned earlier on about when I said I got buzzed against in my last actual fight early doors. So I was looking around thinking, what am I doing here? Now, prior to that time, the only two losses in my career that I'd had was Rivera and David Barnes. Now, Barnes, I got tagged in second. I didn't really know where I was. I managed to get through until 6 and got buzzed probably a few times. Against Rivera, I wasn't getting buzzed, but I were on end of it. I could see what he was doing. I couldn't slip. I couldn't counter. I was getting tagged and getting clipped. But not at any point did I think, what am I doing here? My heart was in it. My heart was in it in those two fights. But there were no problems. I mean, listen, if they hadn't thrown towel in, referee would have stopped it because I wasn't in a position to blooming. I were done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if I'd have maybe, again, it's all ifs and buts. This, you know what I mean? But I was trying to chase the bout. I was trying to chase the fight from as early as 2nd, 3rd, 4th round because I was behind on points. But what I probably should have done is just stay on back foot because that's what I'm good at. I ain't good at going. You know what I mean? I can go forward with people of other abilities and stay in the pocket, but against the top, better level boxers, I'd be better on my back foot. And I maybe I'd have got beat, but I maybe got beat on points and not a stoppage in 10th. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You were very slick. You were. The word.
Very slick. Used to love watching you on Sky. Great happy days they were. Takes me back.
It's very funny because you're one of the fighters. I was in the same change room or around quite a lot when you fought.
Yeah.
You seem to be one of the fighters I remember quite a lot when I was around.
It's a weird one now because we touched on that a little bit before, but it's like when you end of the day, when you go to I mean, it'd be different now because I've got a different head on my shoulders. But you go to those boxing venues. It's business in it, and you're trying to keep you're trying to keep your focus, but then you got characters then, haven't you? You got your Smiths, you remember Tony Booth?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Booth character.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been in change rooms with him, and he was like, he just had everybody at ease, didn't he? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Tony Booth, what? I mean, but then not everybody can be like that.
Mm.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, yeah, he was one of them fighters. Sometimes if he felt like it, he'd come to win, and then sometimes weren't bothered, didn't bother. You know, he was one hell of a fighter. You know, sometimes he'd come and fight and win, and sometimes he'd come in bothered and just.
Yeah,
he was like that when he
have a shuffle about, but he very, very rarely got beat up, didn't he? You know what I mean?
very rarely. Nah, he never got beat up, did he?
No.
Never got beat up.
And when you look at it, when you look back and you think, who's clever one?
Mm.
You know what I mean? He's just there hustling about, just bobbing, slipping. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got a book out as well. Him.
Has it? All right. I bet that'd be interesting.
He's got a book out. Oh, I think you're right, Of. He has got a book.
Yeah. The wife bought. I've never read it, but the wife bought it me for a present.
You never read it.
it's still sitting in the loo on the shelf.
Oh yeah.
He's got a book out. You know, I've never read it, but my wife got it. But he's got a book. That's really nice.
I ain't got round to it. I got that many.
Yeah, I mean, you are, mate.
He's out in Tenerife sparring, doing 6-8 rounds with Nigel Benn, and then going and getting some beers and going on beach.
Yeah,
that's what he used to do. I didn't witness it. Obviously, I'd heard the tales at Brendan's, but then I'd actually spent time later on in my career down at Eugene's place. Me and Hobson were down there. Hobson was sparring with Matt, the heavyweight kid. From blooming what's his blooming name now? From Bedford. Matt Skelton.
Yeah.
Matt Skelton.
Bedford Bear.
And I was sparring one thing. It's like it's back end of my career, but there were Kevin Sanders was trainer then, and Kevin Sanders were out with Nigel Benn when Tony Booth were there. So it's true because I've heard it off both sides.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Tony Booth is out there sparring Nigel. You know what I mean? And then
for a bit.
Beers and beach. Back in next year.
James, you ever thought of bringing out a book?
Nah.
I would definitely read it if you get it.
Oh, you know what it is? I will read it, but I've got that many. I ain't got round to it.
It'd end up next to Tony Booth's, wouldn't it?
Oh, come on, no.
You just put them in alphabetical order, wouldn't you, Alf? Yeah. A fruit is in the box, and A fruit is there. Never read any of them.
I got a few to read. I've read some of them, but I keep getting more and more, and then eventually I'll get round to it.
You prefer the audio books, don't you? Admit it. You can put your headphones on,
and then I want Jane's book, and then that won't be there. But I gotta read these, read that, then I'll get to it. Yeah. Jane's book I gotta read as well. Jane Carrick, I gotta get her to read it.
Has she sent you the book now?
No, because she said to me, read it on the audio. Once you read it, I'll send it to you.
She's got you by the short and curlies with that one, didn't she?
Yeah,
I do know you say. Yeah, read the book and then I'll send you the copy. Yeah. Just making sure you read it. You see, that's what.
Yeah.
James, this might be quite an obscure question to ask you, but do you keep up to date with all the current boxing, or have you kind of switched off a bit from that?
After I finished, I probably totally switched off. But then obviously that's like a while ago now. And then I've been back. I was on area council for a while, and that's a blooming long time ago. Now I used to get my boxing news, and then once I got to Denmark, I've not actually and I don't watch a great deal. Having said that, I was around at Allen's and I watched the Josh Kelly, David Aviasian show.
Yeah.
And I watched the boxing that were on there the other week. And then unfortunately I also saw the highlights of Josh Warrington against
Lara.
Against Lara. Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Because was the Zelfa Barrett Kiko Martinez fight on the Josh Kelly fight?
Yes, it was. Now I didn't see that, but I've spoke to one or two people who I respect, and they thought that maybe he was a bit fortunate to get that decision. but I can't make my own mind up because I've not watched it. You know.
Yeah,
But if you anytime if you do want to go and have a watch, it's always there on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's
Watch
just
it and-
it's just down to myself to make time to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
When you get chance, I know you're busy. When you get chance, maybe it'd be a good idea. Have a
I mean,
what you think?
Yeah, the Josh with Josh, it were for me. Oh, like, it were really, really bizarre because it something didn't quite how we were moving. Don't get me wrong, I'll know this. You get to know people by being round them. You know, being round them in the gym, and then you might be around them when come competition night, and some people can find something else, and some people, I don't know, some people, and you get a feel for this. Now, I've not experienced that in terms of Josh. I've seen him sparring coming through. I've seen him sparring Gary Sykes a few years ago when I was on the council and stuff, and I've watched him come through and one thing or now when he started, something just didn't seem. It didn't seem. There was something just missing. It seemed flat. Can't put your finger on it. And then the other thing that stood out for me was, why was he trying? I couldn't understand why we were trying to fight fire with fire. I couldn't understand that. But then it's a really weird place to be there when it's happening. Mm-hmm. It's easy for me and anyone to talk about it afterwards. You know, like I said, me and Arv were chatting before. You guys about the group, and obviously there's a guy on there, a Leeds kid called Nick Manners, who is part of his camp and training camp now. I've not reached out to Nick. Well, I sent a message last week just saying I thought I left it a right few week, and I just sent a message just saying, you know, hope everything's all right. Hope, you know, because it was a bad defeat. But it was a bad defeat that, and it's like, you know, you got to think of family members, got to think of everyone involved. It must have been you know, and that's the only time I've reached out to Nick, and Nick says, no, everything's good, everything's all, you know what I mean, and thanks and thumbs up sort of thing.
Yeah, lovely guy, on Nick.
He texted me earlier. Yeah, he did text me earlier and told me because we're getting him on the show again soon, and
right.
We like winding each other up, me and Nick. It's a bit of banter.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you'll get you better. He can take as good as he gives, can't he, Nick? So.
He gives it a lot better than than I can. But he's looking forward to coming on. So, but James, before we let you go, because obviously we've taken up a lot of your time, late in the evening. Just a quick. I've been asking everybody on the shows. Just a quick thought, really. AJ v Fury has been signed.
Is that? I've seen a little bit. Sorry to interrupt, but I've seen a little bit on Twitter. I mean, has it been done? Has it been signed, or is it just
2-fight deal? Apparently,
2-fight deal. Apparently, been so. No, there's been no site agreed yet, you know, or anything like that. So until they're in the ring, obviously, until they're stood opposite each other in the ring, about to start throwing leather, then. I'll take it with a pinch of salt, given the history with some of them. But if they were to fight, I mean, I'm trying to put a little idea that Arv will probably smile in a minute, but I'm trying to get an idea. I'm trying to keep a little chart of who would you predict to win that? Who would be?
Well, for me, if Mr. Fury turns up with a level head and a good bill of health, there's only one winner, and that's Tyson Fury for me. Is Anthony Joshua capable of winning? Of course he is. He's 250 £250 or whatever he is. You know what I mean? You know, but if Mr. Fury turns up with a proper mindset and like I said, physically well, then there's only one winner for me, and that's Tyson Fury. Is boxing. It's boxing. What a lot of what he does is natural. And if he's trained and fit, you know, then I think he can I think he takes care of business for me.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, James, thank you very much for joining us. As always, it's an absolute pleasure talking to you. And you know, hopefully life in Denmark is treating you well and will continue to do so, and that your family and yourselves will stay fit and healthy.
Yo.
That's it. And we'd love to get you back on again soon. We'd like to get everybody on and catch up and see what's going on.
With a bit of luck, I might better have my own name on instead of our last.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that you've changed. I didn't know that moving to Denmark meant you had to change your name to Amanda.
Well, I mean, it's they're very liberal over here,
Yeah, but it's wonderful, diverse.
Yeah.
So, well done, Amanda. But we'll definitely catch up with you again. So it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Pleasure. Nice to see
Stay on
you.
the line for a couple of seconds and we'll carry on, but I'll just stop the recording. But before I go, you've been listening to the Spartans Boxing Show with myself, Lakey, Mr. Arv, me too, Mr. Steve Trendle, and our very special guest, former EBU champion and former Commonwealth Welterweight Champion, former WBF World Welterweight Champion, Mr. James. Is it Roberttown Rocket? Is it Lord of the Manor? But one of those, Hare. So thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Cheers, James. Absolute pleasure, mate.
Pleasure.
Yeah,
Nice to see you again.
Guys. Thanks for having us.
Fantastic guy.
See you, Steve. Yeah, thanks.